And we're live.
Welcome back to Packernet. JJ Leahy, Ryan Schlip, and Jake Shavink. Man, we should probably take a moment of silence here for any number of things. I mean, a lot of people's fantasy scores, Aaron Rodgers' Achilles, the just entire city of New York. I mean, holy. First, you had the embarrassing debacle of the 0-40 loss by the Giants. Then Aaron Rodgers comes out and, everybody's already feeling bad about 9/11. He tries to make it even worse by just completely. I mean, it's just I don't think that I can recall anything sadder to witness in the last couple of years in NFL football than just like all of this hype building up for New York Jets fans all year long. And then just like, it could not have been worse. He did not get to complete a single pass. All you got was a little bit of highlights from training camp. That's it. Anyways, I do just want to give one quick special shout out before we hop into anything to Justin Fields for just, if he had thrown under 200 yards, I would have won $5,000. If he had thrown over 231 yards, I would have won my fantasy matchup. He threw 216. So Justin Fields, screw you. All right, guys, let's hop into this.
Speaking of fantasy matchups, I won by 4 in a league where my opponent's QB was Rodgers. So
there you go.
Dang.
Yeah, I won by 4. I come into the game, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, who cares? It's over. I accept it. But man, I just hope he plays again. Honestly, I know all like rooting interests and everything aside.
Nobody wanted to see him go out like that.
I just don't want to see that be it. I'm worried. My dad said it immediately when the injury happened. He's like, "Oh no, I think I might have saw something on the play," and I'm like, "Oh boy." And yeah, it just was not. Really didn't want to see that. Honestly, everything about the pick kind of for me went out the window. Honestly, wasn't even thinking about it. It was just like, man, this is just did not want it to be like that at all.
Yeah, we do have to talk about the pick because obviously big impact. The first round pick is out the window. It's officially a second round pick. Ross Uglum on Twitter did some math for us, which is nice. He said, assuming that the Jets finish roughly 8-9, which is I think about where they were last year.
I think so.
Basically, if you take all the picks that we've already received and the picks that we had to give back to the Jets and all that stuff, if the Jets finished roughly 8-9, the Packers essentially moved an aging quarterback off of their books and cleared up, what was that, like $80 million or something, and got the value of the 16th overall pick in return.
There you go.
Not too bad. And dude, Luke Musgrave, by the way, is the guy we got with that second round pick last year, already looking like a freaking stud. So that's pretty encouraging. So, but I mean, this is like the one outcome where everybody loses. Rodgers loses, the Jets lose, and their fans lose. The Packers lose. Nobody benefited from this.
Right.
Not even the Bills. They didn't even win.
All the Bills had to do was control the football, man.
Yeah, that was significantly worse for the Bills. If they'd have lost to Rodgers, at least, you could blame it on that.
Exactly. Just imagine if the way the defense played, if Rodgers played the whole game, like that might have been.
Oh my goodness.
That might have been, back to back, teams in New York just getting eviscerated in front of a national audience. Like, yikes! Just all Allen had to do was play like Jordan Love did. Don't turn the ball over, and I think they would have got it done, but he couldn't do it.
I'm not even sure it was a win for Zach Wilson because the Jets promptly started calling up every other quarterback.
They played Dallas next week, so it's not a win for him at all.
Like, I mean, I think that the best thing you could have hoped for Zach Wilson was the whole let's sit him for a year or two behind Aaron Rodgers and let him try and develop a little bit and maybe have another bite at this apple. I mean, come on, the dude looked as bad as he ever has, and the organization wants to move on, and get another starting quarterback. So I don't know. We are gonna try and keep it fun, and we're gonna have some fun dunking on the Bears. We pulled some receipts. We pulled some just funny stuff to look at. Who wants to go first? Jake, do you have something pulled up?
I have it pulled up. The question is, do we want to show it though?
Well,
I can describe
our
it.
Primary audience is audio, anyways, but there are people tuning into the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, I can describe it. It's a very simple one. It's basically just the circle of life, and it has basically exactly what you'd say. Bears fans talk tons of crap pregame. Packers proceed to embarrass them. Packers fans get revenge for said crap talk. Bears call for firing of head coach and GM. That's it.
That is the circle of life.
It is. It's the circle of life. When ownership gets renewed, that's where it goes. And we're back at it for 2023. So,
speaking of the circle of life, this might be a warning to Jordan Love not to sign with the Jets 15 years from now, because you're going to get hurt.
Like a good idea.
Yeah,
not finish the season.
It doesn't seem to pan out super well in general.
No. Did you get either of you guys watch Matt Eberflus's press conference the day after the game? Head coach of the Bears.
I heard some snippets in terms of people quoting it on Twitter, but I didn't actually watch it myself.
It was completely and utterly brutal. The Chicago media has had it with just incompetent Bears teams. So
I mean, fair.
Oh, what is this? Let's see.
Oh no, I'm just queuing it up. We can go ahead and finish your thought. I'm just getting mine ready.
It was brutal. So Eberflus started by blaming the players, which actually, after rewatching the game, I don't know that I can really disagree with it. I mean, it was just horrifically crappy execution down after down. But they asked him about what's the guy's name? DeMarcus, what is it? Freeman, the free agent edge rusher they brought in this.
Walker.
Marcus Walker. Thank you. So DeMarcus Walker, apparently, according to a Bears reporter, I didn't hear Walker's interview. He said that the pass rushing scheme needs to be better. And Matt Eberflus was asked about that, and he said, I don't know what he's talking about.
That's pretty funny.
Then another reporter said, so, hey, the Packers are also trying to work in a new quarterback, and it seems like it's going pretty well for them. What are they doing differently than you guys are, and what can you bring in and try and copy what they're doing? And Eberflus just literally refused to answer the question. He's just I'm not going to get into that.
Shut up. Have any of you guys watched this, by the way, the QB School on Fields? I saw the Jordan Love one. I heard Fields dropped, but I've been busy doing the podcast. I've been dying to watch it.
I did watch it. I've never seen JT O'Sullivan get that frustrated in my life.
Oh,
there's one point where he just starts just swearing at the screen just over and over again. He
should have just pulled that up.
Oh,
he's like, what is this? What is this scheme? What is this execution? He hated it. Side note, having rewatched the game myself, Cole Kmet did nothing on every single play. Just nothing. He wasn't blocking. He wasn't running routes. He just was just nothing. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know what the heck the plan was with Cole Kmet.
Here's the thing. Cole Kmet did that. Luckily, nothing stood out horribly with Kmet like it did with Claypool. So
yeah, I
would just like to go last week. Just reminding everybody, JJ did the would you rather have the Packers receivers or the Bears receivers? And I said, even with Claypool, I'm just not taking it. And that's Sunday is exactly why. That was dreadful.
JT O'Sullivan in his video, there were two different parts where he just immediately basically called for whoever's coaching this group to get fired. So there was a Claypool missed block, and JT is just this is the kind of crap that gets wide receiver coaches fired really early in the season. He said the same thing about the play design at one point. He's nobody is on the same page about whether it's a run or a pass play. Nobody knows what's going on. It was amazing.
Well, I will say too, and I talked about this. I just finished on the podcast, but I'm they do scapegoat Getsy way too much. There's no doubt. Bears fans blame him for everything. However, he is useless. Like that, he 100% can't do the job. He's a fraud. He never should have got that job. So it's a little bit of both. On one hand, it's like the one touchdown to Mooney was like, that was good play design. Everything else is terrible. Like, come on. You'd have no idea what you're talking about. You just like the things that work and don't like the things that don't. A lot of times things don't work because your team sucks. However, yeah, dude's trash for sure, and you were stupid to hire him.
They love it's going to be a very much a like, oh wow, look, we poached the LaFleur tree from the McVay tree.
100%.
We're so smart. Look at us.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, the Hackett thing went really well in Denver. Oh man, there have been just stuff tossed out. You know, all the scenarios about who the Jets should acquire. Someone had the audacity to say Russ. We need to see that again. And
Wait,
Getsy,
are you saying that the Jets need to trade for Russell Wilson?
Yeah, there was someone had the audacity to say that on a podcast. And he said,
I saw?
It wasn't like serious. It was like, how great would that be? Russ and Hackett back together again. Like, we don't need to see that. We don't. Need to see
I mean, we could.
We'd like to see that, but I don't think we need to.
I saw some Bears fans optimistically talking about, well, what if the Jets traded for Justin Fields? Like, okay, listen, the Jets are not going to come to your rescue and trade for your crappy quarterback.
They had an opportunity to draft him. They said no. Can't imagine they're like, yes, that's who we want. It's not like to be serious for a second. It's not like the Packers, having interest in DeShone Kizer and then like eventually saying, yeah, maybe we want him as a backup. We'll go get him when he's a free agent. Like this is not that. Like there was never any indication of like, oh yeah, the Jets are very interested in Fields. They just kind of like Wilson better. That has not been a thing.
Matt LaFleur. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say shout out to United Bates, by the way. Thank you for that. Jeremy said it best. Hail United Bates. So thank you for showing up for the first time and then subbing up within 5 seconds. I appreciate that. If the rest of you wouldn't mind doing that just immediately, that would be fantastic.
There we go.
I'm just kidding, by the way.
Hey, shout out to my mom. She texted me that she's watching tonight. So
dang, what's up, JJ's mom?
Matt LaFleur had during his post-game presser a line. He was trying to give Luke Getsy credit for the 12 men on the field penalty that they caught the Packers in. He's like, well, they got Luke over there now, so that's a part of their offensive scheme is to have that in there. And I'm like, I understand what you're trying to say, that like you emphasize like trying to get the ball off quickly in those situations, but like that it was just such a like sad little olive branch of like, hey, Getsy, you're my dude. I know it's sucking over there for you, but like you did something kind of good. I'm gonna give you credit for that.
It really is a pathetic thought process. I always assume like, well, these guys know what they're doing. They're really smart. And then you look at it and it's like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. It's very obvious what they did. Number one, we want that LaFleur tree because we think that that's just magically like he's just going to call the LaFleur plays and then we win. Which amazing that a organization would think that way. Second of all, they poached our number 4 and maybe I don't even know if he would have been 4th on our list to choose from. Matt LaFleur didn't even want him here. He showed up because Aaron Rodgers hired him. Yeah. So he served no purpose here. The Packers were happy to let him go. It's like, how do you not know this? We know this. Shouldn't you know this? Do you not have anyone checking things out to be like, you know what? Actually, this guy got poached out of college because Rodgers wanted him back. Maybe this isn't the best decision. But you know what? It contributes to the Bears staying the Bears, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, Matt LaFleur had an offensive coordinator vacancy and happily let Getsy go to Chicago, happily let Hackett go to Denver, and Hackett starts, trying to poach guys from the Packers staff, and LaFleur's kind of okay with it for a couple guys, and then he tries to poach Jason Vrabel, the wide receivers coach, and LaFleur blocked it. He's just like, no, you're not doing that. Like, sorry, you can't go be Hackett's offensive coordinator. Luke Getsy, he's like, see ya. You're going somewhere else in the division. Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, shucks.
What a great question.
No, don't go. Oh, I just forgot to block it. Sorry.
Imagine that a former wide receivers coach who's just a yes man buddy with your quarterback and never accomplishes anything coaching your young quarterbacks. Imagine that he doesn't know how to run this brilliant offense. He's not. You don't have the next Sean McVay miraculously.
We should know this by now. Like, guys get jobs in the NFL because they know people. Like, that's heavily part of the and it's very much up to them whether they put it in the work or not. Clearly, when if you've listened to the Playmakers, or is that what it's called, the podcast that Jordan Rodriguez did for The Athletic, where it's like Shanahan Something and like McVay and LaFleur, like those guys all put in the work. Like Shanahan was obviously probably got a job because of his dad, and like, okay, fair enough. And then he put in the work, and he's consistently evolving an offense. McVay's put in the work. LaFleur's put in the work. Well, the rest of these guys, it's always a question mark whether that's going to happen or not. So, yeah, Getsy is just trying to do the exact same things, it feels like, without ever like looking to evolve too much. And that's where you're going to get bit a lot in this league, is if you don't consistently evolve, change up looks, change up personnel. Like, we shouldn't be surprised, though.
Elevated Shine wants to know if Bakhtiari is going to play with the game being on turf.
Dude, he's on like a warpath.
He is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's not the only one. They've been talking about this stuff for a while, and I think Bakhtiari has been part of it. But now that Rodgers went down, and to be fair, the NFL lost something major by not addressing this issue when they lost Aaron Rodgers. So it might be maybe time. I mean, assuming they agree with the assessment. And by the way, am I right in assuming that the only reason this is being blamed, like his foot didn't slip out where it would have if it was grass?
That's exactly
because at first I was trying to think, like, what would that have anything to do with it? But if you think, I think that stuff is all woven together, so it won't really move as well.
Have you seen the slow-mo video of, like, you can actually see his tendon like exploding?
Yes, I don't like it at all.
I knew that it was in there, and I didn't watch, because people are like, if you watch slowly, it's like, I'm not checking that out. I don't want to see that.
You could see it on replays. They even showed, like, I don't like it. It was not enjoyable to watch.
In the offseason, Bakhtiari did this like interview circuit on all these podcasts where he was like, anybody who's willing to let him talk about turf, he would go do it. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, like, look, if you're playing on dirt and then it's like something's got to give, and it's either the ground has got to give or your leg. Like, your leg is stronger than just like grass in dirt. Like, the dirt gives, and so you have something there, but the turf just doesn't give at all. And so if something has to give, it's your leg.
Yeah.
And you can see on the video of Rodgers' leg exploding. That's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all on board with it, because today or yesterday it's Rodgers, tomorrow it might be Bakhtiari, or Christian Watson or Jordan Love. So yeah, I think if it's as conclusive as it sounds like it is, which I think it is, there's more than enough data on this. Why would you not address it? I mean, we're doing everything in our power to prevent injuries. You can't touch somebody's helmet. You can't do anything because we're worried about knees. You can't cut block. You can't hit high. You can't hit low. But we got a major thing here that could easily cut down on injuries, and we're not going to address it. I mean, I'm sure there's some problems with saying, hey, you got to spend however many hundreds of thousands to replace this. But I think you should still probably just go ahead and do it.
Well, Bakhtiari made the point that, like, so they're bringing, I don't follow soccer at all, but apparently
they are doing this.
They're bringing some soccer championship game, something, to the U.S., and it's going to be played in NFL stadiums, and they are taking out the turf and putting in real grass for that game. And, like, Bakhtiari and some of the other NFL players are just purple.
Yeah, that's insane.
Living. You care more about these soccer players than you do about us.
That's crazy.
Why in the world would we play a game for you until you? So it's a valid question, Elevated Shine, whether he's going to play the game, on turf this year. I mean, the dude has not stopped screaming about how much he hates turf. Yeah. At some point, you got to wonder if he's going to, like, actually put his money where his mouth is and refuse to play on it.
Yeah, the most recent one I can think of before Rodgers last night, like on a big stage like that, what felt like a big moment like that was Jameson Williams, and that injury just, I mean, again, whether or not you care about Bama winning or not, whatever, it's a major injury to a big time player, and it changes the outcome of things, because, hey man, we got to this championship game, SEC title game's got to be on turf, got to be indoors, all that stuff. So I get that not everybody has the facilities to do what Arizona and Vegas can do, where they can roll grass out, and roll it back in, right? MetLife's never going to be able to do that. They don't have the, weather to do that year round, but something's got to give on that front.
Don't the Vikings have grass though? Or are they on turf?
That's a good question.
I feel like the Vikings,
You would
like
think
whenever
they'd be turf, but since they're
whenever they put the
indoors,
list out, I always feel like the Vikings are listed on like the good guy list.
maybe they are grass. No,
If the Vikings can do it, because I think they're the most northern NFL team in the country. If they can do it, there's kind of not no excuse. Well, I don't know. I guess I just Googled it, and it looks like maybe they have turf.
Yeah, I do see turf under theirs.
See, the Vikings are
Gillette's another one, a big one.
Just always doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Vikings. I'm getting there. Actually, kind of a cool organization.
Well, now where do we go?
Well, I'm
back to dunking, or
no, that's fine. Yeah, we could do that.
No, if you got something else,
No, I mean, we kind of already talked about it, but Elevated Shine here is talking about could players potentially sit out, and I took it as a joke at first, but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, is that potentially something I hadn't really thought about it, but the dude is serious, and he is not healthy. His knee is not doing well. I could see him. I don't think it's going to happen, but just off the top of my head, I could probably see him saying something to the effect of just I'm not doing it. And if it gets to that point, what then happens?
I do think that some of the Packers beat needs to ask, or should have already asked.
Yeah, great point.
This question, because I mean, think about the fact that the Packers basically, obviously one was a technicality, but they kept 5 offensive tackles on their initial 53. Maybe Bakhtiari told them, look, I will play all the grass games you want. I'm not going to play turf games. If that's the case, they need to be prepared for that. And I don't necessarily blame them if they choose to not bring that up themselves, before they have to. So I don't know. Somebody needs to have asked him about this already.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it would be interesting to see if players would do that, especially like, you think about one scenario like contract years, guys in contract year, ready to get paid off the rookie deal and is, concerned, hey, we're going to be playing in a lot of turf. It feels like, draft picks sitting out of, if the Rose Bowl's not a playoff game, I'm not playing in it. If my team's in a bowl game, I'm not playing in it. Like, could it end up being stuff like that? I don't see why not.
My mom
shout out again to. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's do your mom first.
Yeah, so she says, "Isn't Lambeau heated?" So actually, Lambeau does have grass, and they do heat the grass to keep it from freezing. And they keep there's a big plastic sheet that they roll out over top of it, and they keep it. The problem is not the outdoor stadiums. The problem is the totally dome stadiums that are not getting actual sunlight in there. That's apparently very hard to grow grass in there, and so that's why like to Ryan's point, like the Cardinals, they roll their grass like out, like they move it out of the stadium out into the sunlight during the week, and then just roll it back in for the game. And there's a couple stadiums that have retractable roofs. I think don't the Colts have a retractable roof? There's at least like 3 or 4 of them that have retractable roofs. Atlanta is one.
Does Houston have theirs? Yeah, I know Atlanta's got that.
I might be thinking of Houston when I said
maybe it might be Houston. That
I might be thinking
kind of roll it at least significantly to get.
You're thinking of the Brewers.
Nobody thinks about the Brewers.
Hey, they're in first.
United Bates, by the way, shout out. Thank you very, very much for the donation there. He says, I'm all for grass. I think the turf issue will be addressed. The problem is, how does the NFL make a standard on what is used? Even Packers use a hybrid field. And JJ, yes, if you're interested, you can get 1/3 of the $10. You don't have to ask.
Heck yeah. You know me too well.
I knew.
What I was going to ask is, where's my payout from last week's donut?
Well, I figured we could let it accumulate since we're at about 75 cents. So now we can add $3.33. So we'll just call it, what, $4 we're up to?
There you go.
That'll buy me a dooski.
Okay.
Buy me a couple dooskies. Well, maybe 1 3/4 of a dooski.
But thank you, United Bates. I appreciate that. All right, should I pull mine up now? Should we do this thing?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me get my audio set up. This is from somebody that
What
And
is
yeah,
Jordan?
Wait
you guys are
a
gonna hear
minute.
yourself echo for a second here. What is their problem?
It's just
a photo.
Okay.
Right.
Don't take it somewhere weird. All right, Jay, calm down, will you?
Echoing.
All right. Yeah, I know. It's for the audio. Here we go. We're gonna play it.
That was terrible. I know it's a long season, but it feels like it's the Bears are just going to suck for the rest of my life, and the Packers are going to be good for the rest of my life, and there's nothing I can do about it, and it's so gutting and disappointing and terrible. I don't even think the Bears even talked at halftime because nothing changed. They didn't. The Packers looked completely different in the second half. The Bears looked like they hadn't changed anything. And it just all is back to the same spot where the Bears are going to suck all year. Like I looked at the schedule. Now they'll probably lose to the Bucks. Then they have the Chiefs week 3. Like the Bears are going to suck this year. And I don't ever know if Justin Fields is going to be good because I don't think they're ever going to give him a chance. And the offensive coordinator is a numbskull and everything sucks. And the Packers probably have the best quarterback in the league somehow. The Bears are the Bears and the Packers are the Packers. And for the rest of history, it will be the Packers beating the Bears. And there's nothing I can do about it. And there's no reason for me to even watch sports anymore.
How was that?
I can't remember. Is Big Cat actually a Bears fan? I can't remember.
As far as I know.
Oh no, he is.
Unless if he's not, he's putting on a heck of an act because he's pretty hardcore about it.
Are you playing another video?
Nope. You want me to pull yours up?
No, I want you to fix the audio.
Oh, yep. I can do that first. There you go.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, you can share my screen. I just
All right.
got some. This is a unorganized mix of receipts and just funny tweets, I guess. This guy, this Bears fan has just been having just the worst week. I just love this. Look, you got your like dunking sign.
Yeah, right.
Dumpster. Where is AA Ron? It's just in the dumpster, and all these sad Bears fans walking out the stadium. He
thought that was gonna be such a good sign.
Also, wait a minute. This guy is a CBS reporter in CBS Milwaukee. Man, that's tough. That's tough, man.
We got. Oh, I'm going to come back to this one. Let me see here.
Well, that's
all right. This one. Imagine you were a few minutes late to turning on the Bills Jets game, and the first thing you see is Zach Wilson at the helm, and it's just a gif of James Earl Jones just looking horrified.
Yeah,
it's funny because it happened so early. I bet there was a lot of people. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of people that had that happen. They just turn on the game and like, what the heck is going on here? I missed 14 seconds.
I thought that I was watching like a replay of the previous season. Like they were talking about, I thought this was going to be like, oh, and look at the new look Jets. And then I just see like, the camera cuts to like some fan in the stands, just like looking like he wants to kill himself.
Yeah. Flipping the bird.
Yeah. They had a bird flip on. That was so wild. After the Milano pick, that was
never changed.
And they just held that camera there. Nobody was there to take it off. They just let it ride.
They're like, that's about right. Yeah.
No,
that's about right.
Yeah, we'll leave that.
This is my favorite. 'Cause you guys know how much I've always hated.
Yes,
Zach
I do.
Wilson and Zach Wilson pick. So this is the Monday morning quarter black. He tweets, Zach Wilson is aggressively terrible. Like he leaves no doubt you are watching a bad quarterback.
Aggressively terrible.
That's so weird, but I kind of love it. That's really funny. I love
Wish
it.
I would have thought of that for Fields.
When you're watching Justin Fields or even like Jordan Love, like there's times when maybe you think like, okay, like that bad play was probably on the quarterback, right? Like that probably sucked, right? But then you watch Zach Wilson and you're just like, get this guy off my screen. Did you guys? I finally tuned into the Manning cast for the first time in my life.
Peyton was ticked, bro. Peyton hates Zach Wilson. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he hates him.
I usually watch games on mute because I just don't like the announcers in general. And my buddy called me up and said that I had to turn on the Manning cast. He's a big Colts fan, so I was like, dude, I don't need to hear about your love for Peyton. And he's like, no, it's genuinely hilarious. And I tuned it on. I did not think it was hilarious, but I was kind of amused by just how just pissed off Peyton was the entire time. Have you seen that? There's a clip going around. Actually, I probably can pull it up. It's Peyton is being asked. Oh, I don't know if I can share my audio. I have to unshare my screen and reshare it, I think, to get audio.
Okay.
Peyton's being asked about Zach Wilson. Let me see here.
Randy says, how odd was it to have both Gary and Smith on the sideline during a defensive series and still have respectable play? Yeah, I had pointed out the stats. We had 8 guys that just dominated statistically, like 15%, 20%, up to 50% pressure rate.
Yeah. Right. I think you made a good point where like you're kind of like over the like you could never have too many pass rushers trope that people throw around. But man, it's nice to have 4. It's nice to have 4. They can just go in there and you go, I feel like the play may drop off a little, but it's not enough where I'm concerned at all. Like this is really nice to have 4 guys. It feels, it kind of feels like we're the Eagles a little bit on Sunday. It kind of was nice. It's like, oh hey, we're rotating guys in, but they're still good.
It's still a stupid saying, but I don't know exactly where the cutoff is. I'm comfortable. I've realized that I'm comfortable with 6. So I don't know exactly. I mean, I doubt I'd be upset with 8, but somewhere beyond that, I start to get a little iffy on it.
Yeah. Well, part of it for me is like if I just started naming some crazy names, like okay, you got all these guys, but like, what if I offered to add TJ Watt to this? Like, would you turn me down?
Yeah.
Would you insist that I cut, Kingsley to make room for TJ Watt? Like, I don't know if you'd want to cut Kingsley.
I'm fine with those 5. You can cut the other 2, perhaps. Those 5 sound good.
Well, I don't have to feel self-conscious about this because I just got a haircut today, so I don't know who that's directed at. Probably, I guess, JJ, because he's not wearing a hat.
If I wasn't wearing a hat, I would get the comment for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a haircut scheduled for tomorrow morning. My my barber, canceled my last 2 because of some personal stuff, and so I texted and I said, "Dude, I got to get my hair cut like this week, or I'm going somewhere else."
Yeah, today I just walked in because we got a place in town. I call them all the time, and they never answer their phone. They're always booked up forever. I just walked in like, hey, I don't see you doing anything. You want to cut my hair? I promise it'll be fast. She's like, all right, fine. So I got her taken care of.
Yeah. All right, I found my video here, and now I'm ready to try and share the audio.
All right.
Let's see. Share tab audio.
Goose, shut up. Leave me in my technical difficulties alone.
You can get on the perfect prediction panel.
Yes.
How many times will Zach Wilson throw the ball the rest of the game? So far, it looks like he's thrown it 12 times. Will he reach 25 times?
No. 3 more.
No.
Here's one of them. Oh, well.
Oh, this was so bad.
It's just one backwards. It looks like Kurt Russell in.
Wow. You can get on the perfect prediction panel. How many
he looks like Kurt Russell, then just trails off. Kurt Russell, what?
Probably in some movie.
I want to know what
makes
sense.
We
got to figure out what.
I don't know what movie
really
though he's talking about. That's a shame.
I gotta look up Kurt Russell movies.
He's like,
he's just
3 more max.
I think everybody, if you're watching the Manning cast, I think you just basically were like agreeing with him, or you're like, wow, 3? Really? 3 more? I don't know, man. That's a lot.
Like, I don't know, man. Like Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook just rotate every series. This could work. Just Wildcat. Actually, the Jets are the team that ran Wildcat a couple years ago. So who was it? Mike White got hurt, and they went through all 3 of their quarterbacks got hurt in the same game, and then Le'Veon Bell just started running Wildcat the whole rest of the night.
Yeah,
I think I got the movie. It's Kurt Russell in Escape from L.A.
Maybe they'll decide to do it. I mean, Miami did it on purpose for a while. So would I rather have Breece and Cook and like Michael Carter out there a bunch over Wilson throwing the ball a lot? Probably. Would people be absolutely livid out their skulls that Garrett Wilson isn't getting targeted anymore for fantasy football? Yeah, probably. But I'm here for whatever they can figure out offensively. I prefer, as somebody who would like the high second round pick, keep Zach Wilson in the game. That would be great. Would appreciate. Next week is going to be probably a disaster. They're playing Dallas, so yeah.
As long as Dallas doesn't have 4 turnovers in the game.
Well, yeah.
I will take the 33rd pick in the draft. I'll do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Plus, the Jets get to keep their own first round pick,
so AFC they can take
Caleb Williams.
Yep. Bears don't get him.
By me. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, in theory, we should be talking about tackles for them, I think, but I get where your head's at with the QB.
Don't just let me do this, okay? All right. And Goose, no, it's not weird to say that the Bears bring you so much joy. I watch Bears games almost as religiously as I watch Packer games for that exact reason. I love watching Bears games. It brings me so much joy every single time. If I'm able to, I will never miss a Bears game.
You guys know a couple of really loud Bears fans on Twitter. Apparently there's this EJ guy who I don't know him at all.
Oh, I blocked that
all
guy.
The time. But there is this guy, Ill Will. Have you run into him?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think Ill Will
He's worse than EJ.
Dude. He's a decent dude, but man, he cannot help himself running his mouth.
Yeah.
Dude, the checks his butt wrote.
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine.
United Bates, another 25 cents for JJ.
United Bates donates $2 so JJ can get another 25 cents. Thank you, United Bates.
I don't know that's quite 33%, but I guess
this is funny. This is funny.
So Ill ran his mouth all summer long, and he was just getting more and more just like aggressively annoyed throughout the summer. And his last few tweets before the game were just beautiful. And I have this 4-tweet series. Here's one that's before the game. Please air it out. Do not give Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon 30 carries. Please rely on the right arm of Jordan Love, because all you need to do is run a fast 40, right? Also before the game. No team's defensive coordinator loses sleep over stopping Jordan Love. They stress over Justin Fields. Then he's got, after the game, this town and this organization don't know how to develop a quarterback. It's why we're the only organization that hasn't had a 4,000-yard passer or 30 touchdown passer. Poor infrastructure from top to bottom. I've seen this same story play out all my life. If you're a younger Bears fan, you can fall for the banana in the tailpipe. This organization fails quarterbacks. There's a reason we've never had a 4,000-yard passer. It's not bad luck. It's failure, which is absolutely true.
That's correct.
Who is you he's speaking to? I think the call was coming from inside the house about 3 hours before he tweeted that. Just saying. So I don't know.
You naive younger Bears fans can fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
I'm a changed man from 3 hours ago. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that guy. I mean, it was daily. Every time I log in, he's got a list of things he's talking about, and he sit there and argue with you. It is amazing, and I've talked about this before, how absolutely paper thin all these guys were. I mean, it took one game for them to give up on their team. It took one quarter for the entire stadium to start booing their team. Like they all that bravado was fake. Yeah. They were hiding so much fear and everything else. I mean, they knew everything we were saying was true. They put on a big front, but one bad game, and it's like, this season's over. Tank for Williams. Like, it's just, I give up. I mean, half of them are already saying that. So, I mean, it is pathetic, and I do hope they get, well, no, I don't want, I guess we kind of want them to be Tampa, as sad as that is. But I would enjoy them losing to Tampa, because they thought that was an auto win, which is hilarious, by the way.
They did.
No, here's what I want, because I think last year basically played out perfectly. They sucked all year, and then the last few games of the season, they convinced themselves, and the organization convinced themselves that Fields was the answer, and that, like, listen, next year, baby, all we got to do is just add a wide receiver and a guard and some linebackers, and this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Swarm said
quarterbacks in the draft. Go ahead.
That's true.
We got Red Swarm Falcons fan in here, says, look forward to our matchup this week in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Do you guys do a show later in the week? I'd love to swap score predictions closer to the game.
Oh yeah, this was supposed to be a Falcons preview pod, wasn't it?
All right, we got into the
Falcons.
I'll be honest. I'm having so much fun talking about how terrible the Bears are. I'd hate to switch to how great David Onyemata is, and Grady Jarrett
Bates.
and Jesse Bates. I don't want to talk about Drake London and freaking Kyle Pitts and Bijan. I don't want to do that. I'm having too much. I mean, if we got to do it, we'll do it. But they actually have talent, and I just prefer making fun of the Bears.
I got another one here. This is another Bears fan. So this looks like it's toward the end of the Packers-Bears game. Okay. So, the Cowboys-Giants game hasn't been played yet and all that. And he tweets, Brian Dable would have had Fields looking like an all-pro right now. And then, like 2.5 hours later, he replies to himself, never mind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah. Man, everybody, yeah. Oh, the Giants, man. They're so
here,
good.
I got something that's not so much funny. It's just kind of, I guess, cool.
Okay.
Let me share my screen. So watch. Once you share my screen, watch. Jordan Love is going to get,
this is
pushed out of bounds here, and watch the sideline.
Real quick.
Guys, rush over from the sideline to scoop him up.
Who went the furthest?
Well, Jaden Reed came flying in off the edge of the screen at the end here.
Yeah, Jaden Reed, DeGuara came from all over.
I feel like
I tell you what, man.
Isaiah McDuffie, Luke Van Ness.
There goes Sewell. Yeah,
actually, Van Ness just stood there.
Got in there real quick.
Yeah, Van Ness coming up from the bench.
Was DeGuara in the game?
He was for this play.
Okay, I was like, it's like, where did he come from? Like, he feels like he was on the.
He came screaming down from somewhere.
Did you see the 3 tight end set?
Oh,
3 tight end set that actually, you know what?
I sent it in the group.
Let me. I can pull it up. So this is. Where'd it go? Here it is. All right. 3 tight end set that LaFleur ran. So you got DeGuara right here.
This is the good stuff.
Ben Sims and Luke Musgrave, I think.
Good old Benny Sims.
I mean, what a madman formation this is.
Yeah.
This is
freaking awesome.
Is Matt LaFleur okay? Like, he's just like, I feel like Matt LaFleur is looking ahead to the next couple games, and he's like, I want to make sure that there is no usable tape, period.
They just threw this in the garbage.
They're just like, he's just like, I am going to run plays out of every single personnel grouping imaginable. No consistency from down to down. Good luck opposing defensive coordinators. Screw you.
You know what this is? You know what that is? That's a nice little wink or a hat tip to the other side of the sideline this weekend, I think. Who else would do that? Probably Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith?
Probably.
There you go.
Who am I?
Mr. Tight End
out
yeah.
there. Yeah. He might take it a step further being 23. I don't know. Like, so nice little, hey, see you next weekend type of thing there to Arthur Smith. I like it.
Dude, what if Matt LaFleur ran like what would you even call that? Just a zero? Because we can't have more than 3 tight ends out there because we don't have 4 tight ends on the roster.
Well,
what if you ran like a 0-3? Look out there.
That'd be dope.
3 tight ends, 2 receivers.
Oh man, it makes me wish that Alan Lazard was still here. Put him out there.
No, we got
Malik.
Heath and Wicks blocks pretty well. I feel like there's 2 right there if you want to get into 0-3.
Or what would be funny is Malik Heath out there and Samori Toure because he's like the tiniest guy we have on offense.
Anti-Heath. They're good foils of each other. I will say that. So everything's on the table.
You guys want to actually buckle down and figure out who the Falcons are?
Okay.
All right.
So,
Dawn's probably already gone, but thanks for stopping, Dawn.
After rewatching the game, and I watched the Packers offense first, and then I watched the Packers defense. I came away kind of feeling like there was nothing that I could possibly learn about the Packers from this, because the Bears didn't try defensively and they were incompetent offensively. And I felt like there was just nothing to learn about the Packers secondary, about the Packers offensive line. Like the fact that we couldn't get any sort of movement run blocking was just bizarre to me, because this Bears defensive line didn't even try and do anything. I don't know why we couldn't run the ball better than we did.
Shout out to Clayton too. He says y'all need to put some respect on Fields' name.
that 82 rushing grade though.
Another 25
Appreciate you, Clayton.
Cha-ching.
JJ's just raking it in today.
We need a cha-ching sound for this.
We should.
We need to put that in. Anybody?
I can work on that. I get that.
I do think we need to have a rule. If I get kicked off the stream, I should get the entire dono for getting kicked off. I feel
that ain't happening.
Dude, you've made like $75
the negotiating table
off of booting me off the stream.
Well, then the problem is I wouldn't kick you off the stream then. That's the problem. And then that defeats all the fun.
You also, I think, made some good money off of me using the referral code on all these betting sites that you sent me. Like,
I don't get anything from that.
Yeah.
I don't. That's just so they can track how many people come in.
You don't get money for that? Like they
not on a per sign up basis. No, they pay a flat fee to advertise for us. So you get way more money on that than you would from the referrals for the 4 people you sent over there, and the $2 they give you for referring somebody.
Well, hey, I get 25 cents every $2 on this stream. So
there you go.
We were so close to the Falcons preview. We were just
JJ really wants to do a breakdown of how much money he makes right here in the middle of the stream.
We were at the finish line. It was like, or whatever you could call it, the halfway house, like whatever you want to call it. Like we were there, stretch over the line, Falcons preview. Nah.
I'm trying to find cha-ching, and you got me looking at nonsense here.
Clayton wasn't even trying to sidetrack us either. I mean, that was like
no, he's just being nice, sending a donation.
Clayton's taking all my notes. He's putting it in the comments. Ooh, I've rewatched the Falcons 2 times for this.
I get
Clayton's
30
my moment here.
I get $3.33 now. Check out Andy's dono
with their offense.
Somebody talk about the Falcons.
I would love to talk about their offense.
All right,
I'm just gonna read what Clayton commented because it's basically what I've got.
There we go.
Now you gotta fix the audio again so we don't hear.
I got it.
Yeah,
we're good.
Yeah. So honestly, it's annoying a little bit to watch the Falcons offense. I think Pitts and London had 5 combined targets last week. That's absolutely ridiculous. Clayton says, sorry, I was lying. But I will say they were last week in the run game. It was 2-1 zone to gap scheme. So they're clearly favoring zone, and that shouldn't be a shocker, right? Arthur Smith coming over from Tennessee. What I noticed the most is how much they're mixing up personnel, even when they're in the same formations. But when when you get into 12, 13, and 22, they're still mixing up guys. They had 3 tight ends take the field, so that's it feels pretty familiar on this side of the sideline for Green Bay. Like, oh yeah, they do kind of what we did last week. Jonnu, Pitts, and Parker Hesse all play. Keith Smith was in there at fullback, so they're not afraid to have 2 backs on the field, especially when you can have a guy like Bijan Robinson who can play in the slot, and he has proved that. We saw that at Texas. We saw him go out. He runs post routes. He's not afraid to be a receiver out there. I think they're treating Bijan like a souped up version of Cordero Patterson, and that's something you have to watch out for. They had a play where Bijan's in the slot. They have a motion over, and he's taking the toss in motion. They're getting Jonnu out front. Jonnu's in the backfield. Like they do all kinds of stuff, moving guys around. They feel a little bit, sorry about the squeak. They feel a bit positionless on offense as well. Like they'll throw Pitts out wide. That's something they did a lot last year. London can be in the slot. London can be out wide. London, obviously helps as a blocker. So does Pitts.
Off the rails.
There we go.
Professor Cake's getting us off the rails, but it's too good to not read.
It is too good. It is.
The Falcon is a predatory bird who's also lactose intolerant.
Did you put that in your notes, smart guy?
No. No.
Matt LaFleur is like, ho, Arthur Smith.
Nice try.
Is the lactose intolerance part how much they're going to throw at the Falcons offensive line with the mixture of personnel? Because I feel like that's probably part of it. Because I will say, to quickly kind of move to the offensive line, if you look at the grades, I don't know if you guys have checked out the grades from Atlanta last week.
Yep.
The offensive line is like giant. They're giant discrepancies between the two phases of the game. Bergeron obviously
they cannot pass black.
So Bergeron's the one exception to the rule, which just shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Bergeron played left tackle at Syracuse. I don't think it should surprise anybody that his run blocking grade so bad. He's used to moving edge defenders in the run game. He is not used to blocking, 300-pound defensive tackles. He's not used to combo blocking 300-pound defensive tackles. So I'm not surprised that the run blocking grade isn't good. They kicked him in there. That's their plan. That's where they want him. Okay. Lindstrom got the bag. That pass blocking was that grade is disgusting. That was very much reflected on the film. What a dreadful performance. Derek Brown had his way with Lindstrom all afternoon. And McGarry's technique in pass pro. It's horrible. Dude's just opening up vertically. He's not staying square when he's setting. It just feels like he was panicking the whole time. And to be fair, he's facing Brian Burns, who's looking for a contract. That's the worst time to face a player. Is they're coming out, oh, you don't want to pay me. Okay. And Burns let him have it as well. So that D-line, O-line matchup, like Drew Dahlman was solid at center, but they have a lot to clean up in terms of the offensive line. But they kind of have some trump cards at the skill positions. If Bijan's, getting in motion, he's in the slot, he's in the backfield, they move him around, they get him the ball, and then you see what he does in space. That touchdown, that move. I mean, I can't believe that move didn't have the defender snapping an Achilles, to be perfectly honest. Like that's Bijan. And he's going to have that. And so the front seven has to be disciplined. The safeties have to fill and tackle. That's, I get it. Darnell Savage, awesome grade last week tackling. Bijan's a different animal at running back. That's what I had in the Falcons offense, though. Just stay off the long.
Clayton had some notes for us too here. He says Falcons are pistol 12 and 21. Got to watch Robinson flex in the slot, and Pitts is a matchup issue for sure. About to start the second pass to the Falcons-Panthers game, and then he adds in the most important note: Ritter is cheeks.
Yeah, he drops his eyes. He drops his eyes.
Oh,
he's a panicker,
which means he's cheeks.
Yep.
Shorthand for the Falcons offensively is they do have a wicked offensive line that just punishes you in the run blocking game. And then they drafted over the last 3 years my number one non-quarterback, offensive skill player in each of the last three drafts. They took Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. Those three guys I think are all studs. Now Drake London had a bad week last week, but outside of them, receiving options, those are the only three guys worth throwing to. Now, it is worth addressing. Scotty Miller is on this team now.
Oh, but Kevin King isn't. So,
yeah, Kevin King is long gone. He's not here anymore, so Scotty Miller can't hurt us anymore.
I apologize.
But they don't have a quarterback, though. Desmond Ritter, he was fun to watch at Cincinnati. He had, I think, 2 decent games last year out of the 4 he played. Really, really bad week 1 performance against the Carolina Panthers, who are a weird defense, but not like a fantastic defense. This is a game that I think is largely going to be determined by the Packers' offensive success against the Falcons' defense, because right now that's where all the talent resides. The Falcons' offense does present some challenges that you got to account for, but they are limited enough that I think that schematically you can key in on shutting down Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London, and nobody else that they really have can hurt you.
By the way, shout out to Andy for the $10 super chat. Says, tired of hearing, wait until you play a good team. Good teams are supposed to dominate bad teams. Sorry the Packers did that, I guess. And I think he's absolutely right about that, too, because it's one thing if you beat the Bears by 1 and it's like, wow, cool, you beat the Bears. We beat the crap out of the Bears. We didn't just beat the Bears. We stomped the Bears. So, I mean, yeah, we don't know exactly what the team's going to be, but I think it's probably a good sign if you think your team's good to beat the living daylights out of bad teams. By the way, I figured I'd throw this in here.
JJ pay counter currently at $7. Come on.
Well, and that doesn't
25 cents on there.
Yep. So I added those. That doesn't include this, however. United Bates threw in a $10 super. Says, give JJ a raise. Go Pack Go. Nice. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a raise real quick if you guys want to continue.
Jake,
yeah.
Offensively, obviously, the run defense is going to be, or I should say, offensively for the Falcons, the run defense for the Packers is going to be a.
Wait, that's wrong.
What's wrong?
No, I'm sorry. Your pay was wrong. I was doing the 25% thing because everybody was doing that, so I did 25% of 10.
All right, Jake, talk to me about defensive focuses for the Packers this week besides stopping the run.
Well, I was going to say they have to, be aware of where Drake London is at all times, but I'm not sure Arthur Smith knows who Drake London is. So that's one of the real question marks.
Sure, Desmond Ridder knows who Drake London is.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder might know, and maybe Desmond Ridder this week goes, "Hey, Arthur, buddy, this has to stop. I'm not targeting myself the same number of times I'm targeting Drake London in a game. That's not happening again. I don't want to see Mac Hollins out there more than Drake London, but I'm not sure he has that kind of pull. So, other than stopping the run, I think you have to be aware of the Falcons getting guys into space, and I think they're going to test whether or not Green Bay secondary is willing to tackle, as well as not to get back into the run game because you said don't do that, but they're going to get to the perimeter too. It's not just going to be, there's not going to be just, power. There's not just going to be inside zone, right? They're going to get wide, and they're going to test if corners are going to take on responsibility that they need to in a defense and take on some pulling guys and let others replace and make the tackle. So it's partially on that. It's partially going to be, okay, yeah, can you tackle Drake London, on the quick game that we're going to run? Can you tackle Kyle Pitts on stuff where maybe we're running play action and he's, going to be running some over routes in the short area of the field? Can you tackle Bijan in space? We're going to throw him the ball a bunch. And that's going to be the focus. I don't think there's anything where, if we talk about it's going to be about getting, we've talked about this before with the defense, getting to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 is huge, because it's going to allow what we saw last week with the defensive line happen again. So it's going to be about tackling. And if, the Packers that, if Rudy Ford tackling shows up, like we've seen it kind of not show up in recent weeks, going back a little bit to last season as well, then there's going to be a problem. If Savage doesn't play like he did last week in terms of tackling, it's going to be a problem. So if they don't tackle, it's going to be, it could be a long afternoon.
By the way, I owe a couple of these. Go ahead.
Well, it's not just Bijan.
Oh,
Bijan was
I guess that just keeps playing.
Bijan was their best receiver last week, and I would expect that probably to continue this week as well.
I would agree.
But they also have Tyler Algier, who was freaking fantastic last year and had a fine, in fact, pretty darn great game in week 1 as well.
Yep.
I mean, this is every bit one of the most impressive running backs rooms in the NFL, right up there with anybody else.
I didn't.
And if you got
What a great comment.
Elevated Shine says Ryan keeps disappearing off the side of the screen like Josh Myers did on Sunday.
Jeez.
Elevated Shine.
It's kind of a cool trick, though.
It is.
But
It is
I don't
pretty
need
cool.
the PTSD.
Oh,
No, I do
But
agree with
well,
Algier.
Well, and I think we'll see Bijan line up in the slot
Yep.
and Tyler Algier probably on the field at the same time.
yeah.
Yep. They're out ponying what Green Bay, can
Oof.
provide in terms of the pony package. It hurts to say that, but like you said, JJ, Algier he's a good runner. Like it's not like he's overwhelmingly sudden or quick. Is he the fastest player on the field? No, but he's a grinder. He's not afraid. They can get him in on the wide zone stuff because he's got good vision for cutback lanes, and he'll push it outside. He's got enough speed, and he's a tougher guy to bring down. He's well built. Not that Bijan isn't, but Algier is, a pretty thick player at running back. So they're gonna have their hands full.
How many tight ends do you think the Falcons have on their roster?
I don't know.
They have 6
Right,
tight
that's
ends and a fullback on the roster.
Which
Yeah,
fullback
that's
can
true.
play on Sunday.
Yeah.
10 snaps.
Yep.
Yeah,
For the fullback.
Keith Smith.
Yep.
They have Jonnu Smith. They also have, and I was relieved that he had a crappy grades in week 1. They have Nicole Pruitt,
Oh, that's right.
who's a dude that I've been begging for in Green Bay since 2020. I don't understand why the Packers have never brought this dude in. He's played for the Titans, the 49ers, now the Falcons. I mean, he's just making the rounds in the Shanahan McVay offensive tree, and the Packers have had zero interest despite just not having any tight ends. I mean, the Falcons have 6 tight ends and a fullback, and they're like, oh, hey, let's bring in Michael Pruitt as well. Come on, Goody. I think he plays pretty decently well everywhere he goes, too. I mean, his grades from week 1 this year looked like crap, so it made me feel better, but
Yeah. I will say they're doing that. Do we want to do that? The come on Goody thing. Do we want to do that? Do we want to have games where they're like, why aren't you throwing to Christian Watson? Why aren't you throwing to Romeo Dobbs? And Matt LaFleur goes, this isn't fantasy football. Like, I'm not sure we want that.
Yeah.
I like the balance that Green Bay has. The passing game in Atlanta.
hey, the Packers I think they seem excited about their new tight end, Ben Sims, that they brought in. Seems like they were kind of thrilled that he became available. Undrafted free agent rookie picked up by the Vikings, and as soon as the Vikings cut him, Packers immediately got on the phone with him, and Matt LaFleur said, like, hey, how soon can you be here in Green Bay? Can you hop in your car and drive here now? And they played him. He was on the field for significant, meaningful snaps on Sunday against the Bears, week 1. That's awesome. So I'm excited to see what this guy's going to do. I mean, none of us were thrilled with what Tyler Davis did on offense in the preseason last year, but I mean, I think that he was a solid piece and a significant loss for us when he went out this summer. So, hey, if Ben Sims can come in and, at least replace Tyler Davis or maybe be an improvement on that, that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Came in and promptly gave him Tucker Kraft's job, so that's exciting.
I forgot we do have 4 tight ends on the roster.
Yeah.
I literally forgot Tucker Kraft.
It's not a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign.
Jake is not happy right now with this conversation.
They had DeGuara and
They need to
Musgrave
stop
and
drafting
Sims on
players I
that
like
day
in the
and
3rd
not
round.
Kraft.
This is you talk second year in a row.
Oh,
This already. I like Sean Ryan. That pick is nice. Very nice. And then they take Kraft in the 3rd.
I'm sorry. Look, no hate to Tucker Kraft as an individual or even as a player, but until he does something, I'm just going to assume that the curse has claimed him because the curse. What did we decide it was? Like
undefeated.
It's 19-0.
Yeah, since Morgan Burnett, right?
What year was he? Was he 05 or 04?
A long
I think
time
it was
ago,
05.
man. I don't know.
Been a while.
So that's 18 years. 18-0. Jeez.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
That's painful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It
to the
is.
point where it's like it's ridiculous to say you should trade your third round pick because obviously that's silly.
Yeah.
But is it like at this point? Like, what's more realistic that they just accidentally missed 15 years in a row,
18.
or
18.
18 years in a row,
Yeah.
or that there's actually a real live curse in the draft for the third round for the Packers? I don't know. I don't know which one's more unrealistic.
Flip
I
a
mean, of
coin.
all the things to be cursed about, I guess I will take missing in the third round every year, and I will take never having a long snapper. You know what? If that's what we got to live with, but we get back to back Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and every single second round wide receiver we take is, a Packers Hall of Famer, I can live with it.
Dakota will not stand for the Sean Ryan slander in the comment section.
Again, no hate to Sean Ryan, but I
Yeah.
need to see it to believe it. At this point, I believe in the curse more than I believe in any of these. I don't think it would matter who you draft. I
Yes,
think if you drafted Christian Watson in the third round, he would suck right now.
Poor Amari Rodgers. That guy would have been so good if we could took him in the second.
Yeah, that begs the question: if the Packers took Amon-Ra St. Brown in the third round, like, would he have not been good?
Yeah,
that's true.
right.
Like that's
I was-
yeah. That's really it, right? Like,
Brandy Lewis
Great
wants to know, why do the Packers lose their mind when they play any team in the South? I will
Bigotry.
say that even when we win down south, I'm specifically thinking of the Panthers. The last few times we played them, like the Panthers have sucked, and it's been like a really tight one-score game every time.
yeah.
It does seem like you get kind of the worst version of the Packers when they go down south.
Yep.
Now, Dallas, Texas doesn't count.
That's true.
No, that's
true.
Actually, Houston doesn't seem to count either.
no 6
It's
touchdowns.
just I think it's just the
Louisiana?
Southeast. Florida,
Yeah,
Georgia. What else they got over there?
Well, Carolina.
New Orleans.
Yeah, but we
tough.
played pretty decent the last time we played at New Orleans. Now, when we played New
Well,
Orleans at Jacksonville,
exactly.
and the Jacksonville curse got us. Yeah.
Yep. There it is.
But when we played at the Superdome, I thought we played really well. And that was when that was his name. Drew Brees was still there.
Yeah.
That was
that
the game.
was
Alan
the
Lazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
Torres, whatever, his midriff or whatever. Torres belly
What?
button.
I think we could probably just blame all of our problems on Aaron Rodgers and just assume that everything's fixed now. So no matter what it is, like, why do you struggle in the South? That was Rodgers. We're fine now, right? Even the third round curse, maybe, even though this year or whatever.
technically.
But, well, I'm just saying, maybe it was kind of, we were kind of in no man's land. It was a little it's a gray area with Rodgers this year. So now that he's gone, next year it'll be fine.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, no. Think about how many years it's been to the exact number.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burnett was drafted the same year we drafted Rodgers.
Yep.
Okay, so you get a freebie the year Burnett is there, and so then the curse has to take an extra one off the year that you trade Rodgers a couple days before the draft.
There you go. So next year, dude, next year,
Oh,
and
man,
think how
can't
pent
wait.
up that third round pick is. We're gonna knock that so far out of the park. First team All Pro, Rookie of the Year, third round pick next year. I bet.
Hold on, I gotta search for some guys in the third.
Yeah, you need to get to work on that because he's gonna be huge.
Oh man.
I think we can agree that some of the things with the Packers are going to die along with the transition away from Rodgers.
Sure.
But we're going to have to reestablish some new stuff. Kicking the crap out of the Bears in Chicago was a fantastic first start. I think, I was certainly completely unwilling to get on board with any of the memes about Jordan Love owning the Bears prior to the game. And I just said, look, you got to beat him first. But he didn't just beat him. He kicked their teeth in and sent him home.
Well, that's the other thing, right? First game of the year. It's last few not even last few seasons. It's been kind of like coin flip. Is it going to be, rust shake-off game, basically preseason game where it just looks terrible, and maybe that's
it's been
graduated
like
along
5
with
years
Rodgers as well. So
because the 2018 season opener was against the Bears, and I thought that was a really, really fun game. That was the
it was.
Money,
Yep.
I was there. Yep.
That was great.
What a great game to be at. I will say.
You were there?
I was
That's
there.
awesome.
I was there. So
That's the one thing Ryan is never gonna chime in with whenever somebody mentions Packers game.
I remember that one.
I remember watching that one on TV.
I've been to 2-ish.
2-ish. Why is it ish? I thought it was 1. What makes it 2-ish?
I actually think it's 3, but it would be 3-ish because I remember 2 of them.
Were you in utero? Because my daughter was in utero for a game.
No, I was there physically as a fully grown human being for 3 games.
Oh, okay, but only there physically.
Yes, correct.
there you go.
Simon Wilson says, I support trading all 3rd-round picks. I have been ranting about this for several years now. Why do we not just every year go find some sucker team, just basically call all 31 teams and say, hey, what will you give me for this year's 3rd-round pick? Will you give me your 2nd next year?
I was just going to say that we should just start trading all of our 3rds for second round, and then we just have 2 seconds and no 3rds every year. Why would you not take that swap?
I'm looking for who has a lot of 4th-round picks.
I don't know.
2024. I'm like, hey, we'll take like.
That's
hey,
probably
you want 5.
That's probably the better way to go. Take 2 4th-round picks for our 3rd, and then we end up with 3 4ths. We freaking dominate the 4th.
Minnesota's got 2 4ths.
Minnesota has.
Yep. Come up, take
Minnesota
our 3rd.
seems to like doing those intra-divisional trades now too.
They
San
seem to love
Francisco's
that.
got 2 4ths. You want to come up, grab another kicker in the 3rd? All right, here. Take our 3rd.
Oh,
we'll take 2 4ths.
And then if that curse transfers, I absolutely want to give it to San Francisco because screw them.
Oh, you know who else has 2 4ths next year? The Jets. Some more trading going on there. That'd be pass the curse over. Here's a 3rd rounder for you, Jets. It's definitely not cursed. Don't worry.
Somebody was asking me today why. Today is when they asked it. Why the Jets would not be trying to trade for one of the Packers backup tackles like now, like post that game. And I said they don't have a quarterback to protect.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, they got Zach Wilson. I'm just
That's not a quarterback.
I don't know why the Jets would be trying to do anything right now. Like you don't have a season ahead of you. You need a quarterback. There's like 2 teams in the league right now who could lose a quarterback and still carry on.
There might be a solution. It's one that fiscally I'm not sure is possible, but it makes sense considering where the Jets want to be and where the other team is heading. It's for the Jets to, call down to the Southwest and say, hey, how's Kyler doing? How's he healing up? Because if the Cardinals are going to move on and draft a quarterback, but again, Kyler's been hurt too. Do you want him running for his life a bunch with the tackles? Probably you don't. I don't know, but something to
Jets would just be asking for so much trouble. Could you imagine? Especially for Zach Wilson. Like we love Zach Wilson. Actually, we're replacing you. Sit down, you're terrible. Then he gets hurt. Zach Wilson's our guy for sure. Then you replace him again. Then that guy gets hurt. And it's like, no, we believe in him so much. He's gonna be so good. Actually, now that I think about it, they should do that. That'd be hilarious.
Football gods up there say, hey, you guys keep saying it. So that's on you.
You said you wanted Zach.
You said you want him. So
just helping you out.
Yeah.
All right. Over under. Okay, 0.5 games. So basically, will he or won't he? How many games is Tim Boyle going to start for the Jets this year? Is it more than 0?
Start. I'll say no.
I'll say he will. I think he'll start at least 1 game this year, and that's I don't like Tim Boyle at all, but
I would think they'd go elsewhere if they decide to move on from Zach Wilson. Would be my guess. Anybody else?
Think about this, though. Think about this. That garbage offensive line is going to get Zach Wilson killed.
That's a good point. Miss the game. They may not have time.
He'll be in concussion protocol or something. Like, I don't want him to get hurt, but he'll be like in some sort of evaluation thing where he's not allowed to play.
Mhm.
I think Tim Boyle will start a game this year.
That's fair.
And I don't think he'll complete a pass.
Oh, this is a dangerous question to bring up, or something to bring up on a comment to bring up. So go further off the rails here.
Cooper to Gene.
Oh,
is that where you're
Randy
going?
Randy Lewis says,
safeties?
Goose is itching to take another first round safety. It's been a few years. Dude, there's a couple positions. There's a couple positions. Safety is one. Tight end is another where, in the 2022 NFL draft, I was like purple-faced screaming, draft a tight end, draft a safety. They did neither.
Yeah.
Then 2023 comes around. Now you're taking all these swings at tight end because you have no tight ends. They still don't address safety, which, granted, that was a really bad safety class. But the 2022 class, you had some really good safeties in that.
The guy who broke up the pass in preseason game 1 for starters. Dax Hill.
Who's that? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Dax Hill, Kirby Joseph, who mercifully ended the 2022 Packers season.
Yeah. That man was ready for a Jets-Lions Super Bowl. I know it.
Dude, you know what? I will never root against the Packers to lose a game, but
I will.
The prospect of limping into the playoffs as the 7th seed by beating the Lions and then going to San Francisco.
No. Didn't need
Screw that right in the ear.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I was so relieved when that game was over. It was not a fun way to see Rodgers' career in Green Bay end.
No.
But that season needed to die long before it did.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you a safety that could actually really be painful, aside from watching on Thursday Night Football, one of the rookie safeties pick off a pass and take it back, Branch. But the Falcons have Jesse Bates right now, which is somebody that for years Packer fans have been saying trade for Bates, trade for Bates, trade for Bates. Falcons pick him up, and right now, just one game, but he has a 94.5 PFF grade as the number 1 highest graded safety in football. So if that dude destroys our week, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow.
This is where Love has to, and everybody found the clip pretty quickly. Love manipulating the linebacker, right? Creating space for Reed on the throw. Was that Reed's catch? I'm losing my mind. My brain is hurting. There's so much film that has been out recently to look at, but Bates, both of his picks, they were in too high shell the first time, and he freelanced. He said, "I see this. He's going to Hurst. I'm taking this away." Second time he was in single high, and he cut off the dig route and let the post route go behind him. He's just reading Bryce Young's eyes the whole way. Bryce Young, rookie quarterback.
Yeah, makes sense.
Obviously, things you have to get better at. Like he's, I still think he's going to be fine, but that's NFL speed. NFL safeties are going to key in on a lot more than safeties, even in the SEC. So Bates is, he is a problem. What I'd rather see the Packers do than challenge him over the middle of the field is to bring back a lot of what, got Rodgers going with rhythm, the RPO game, force Richie Grant and AJ Terrell to tackle. Like, legitimately, the grades were bad in game 1. If you look back to last season, that's exactly who they are. Inconsistent and poor tackling. Let the DBs try and tackle.
Terrell scares me. He is a seriously underrated cornerback.
Yes, he is a great corner.
Yep.
But if he's in off coverage and you want to flick the ball over, make him tackle.
Yeah.
The Falcons defense, by the way, so Jesse Bates, you mentioned he has a 94.5 PFF grade after 1 week. That's the second best at any position in the entire NFL. Thankfully, a dude named EJ Speed,
Colts,
who's a middle linebacker for the Colts. I had never heard of him. Had a 94.8, just barely edged out Jesse Bates, who was just a 1/10 of a point ahead of TJ Watt at 94.4. So that's fun. We get to go up against Jesse Bates. But they got some game wreckers kind of everywhere.
Yeah. They got like one at every position. That's what sucks.
They do.
They got like
David
one receiver,
Onyemata,
one tight end, one running back,
Jarrett.
2 defensive tackles, 1 corner, 1 safety, 1 linebacker.
It's enough. It is enough
Right.
to make hell for you, because you can't just try and find, hey, we'll pick on Okuda. Well, you know what? They're going to shade Jesse Bates or Ellis over to that side, Caden Ellis, and help out Okuda. Or that Lorenzo Carter is going to be over there. Okay, great. Hey, we're gonna pick on Richie Grant. Whatever. I mean, it just, no matter where you go, you try and attack Calais Campbell, who is finally, after 30 years in the NFL, maybe on a downswing, but it's still Calais freaking Campbell.
Yeah.
Like, you're really gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna run at Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree. Good luck with that. I mean,
I think the only good thing is the 2 areas where they might not have a guy are 2 pretty important areas, and that's quarterback and edge rusher.
Yep. Yeah. They're
like I said,
in young guys.
It's about if we can beat their defense.
Yeah.
Maybe the Packers defense can put up some points again, like they did against the Bears, and help out in that category. And then it's not quite so much burden. David Onyemata was a monster in week 1, 89.8 grade.
Yeah.
Don't love seeing that. Trying to imagine our offensive line, particularly our interior guys, going up against Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata in run blocking.
Yeah. They need to be better than week 1, that's for sure. Because they were uniquely, even among guys that are not good at run blocking, they were, especially Myers, significantly worse even for their own standard. So
against
they got to pick it up.
Defensive line.
Right, that's what's really scary about it too.
Nothing.
Right. Seeing Josh Myers get thrown to the ground by guys that wouldn't even be third string on any other team, that was painful.
Yeah, it's a scare, and also not seeing I mean, it's tougher. It's Fields, right? But the defensive line not tackling as well last week. Yeah. It is, like I said, it is Fields though, right? Ritter's not Fields,
right?
But definitely got to clean that up against this offense. So yeah, it's a trench game again. It's gonna have to be. We're gonna probably say it every week, but
it is encouraging what we were able to do against the run, considering the Bears, how good they are at that. When you look at the defensive line, I mean, the pass rush, you can look at it and say, yeah, well, their offensive line is bad, but I mean, that's a team that runs the ball extremely well, so they were able to hold up there. I feels pretty good about it, but it is going to be a pretty big test against this offensive line, which is a significant upgrade over the Bears.
Yeah, it is.
The Packers are favored in this game, actually, by 1.5 points, and it's on the road. So you look at that as probably 3-point favorites on a neutral site.
Sure.
The over and under is set at 40.5, which is 1 point lower than against the Bears. And I would guess that this is probably a testament to, number one, a higher respect for the Falcons defense, but also maybe giving the Packers defense a little bit more credence after what they did to the Bears. So,
Simon, you did kind of miss out a little bit. I don't know if anybody's got an extra that they can pull out maybe at the end for you, but but you can go back and watch this again. We spent a significant amount of time roasting the Bears.
For the audio audience, Simon asked, did he miss the Bears Cold Takes Exposed episode? We did kind of do that, but Ryan, is your pod going up tomorrow morning? Is that or rather Wednesday morning?
That's going to be Laughing at the Enemy, part 1.
Part 1.
There's just when there's 3-5 months of buildup,
it's you got to take a little bit of time. Well, and the other thing that I realized is I should probably spend a little bit of time making fun of the Vikings as well, because I'm sure they're in full meltdown, having lost week 1 to the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. Yeah, I mean, that's as brutal as it gets. So that occurred to me, and it's like, all right, I have to. We got to do a part 2 here. Not just Vikings. I got more Bears stuff to do, but yeah, tomorrow, the next day. Thursday will also be a little bit of just laughing at these NFC North chumps that ran their mouth too much.
You guys Do you have any score predictions for this game yet, or are we just recording this too early in the week?
I haven't even honestly contemplated it, so I would just be pulling a number out of thin air at this point, I think, which I can do if we want to do that.
Last week, Jake and I both took the over on 41.5, and we both picked the Packers to cover. We were right on both counts. And Ryan picked the under, and man, at halftime, the under sure looked like a good bet. But he also picked the Packers to cover, so get a point for each of us, and then an additional point for me and Jake there. Jake, do you want to take a stab at the final score for this game?
I could take a stab at it. I think really quick. I know it's not when we're recording this, it's not Wednesday. The injury reports aren't out, but from all indications, from Atlanta's side of things, it seems like Cordell Patterson's trending in the right direction. It seems like Jeff Okudah is trending in the right direction. So they're going to probably be a relatively healthy football team coming into this game. I'm not sure it matters. I think there is at least, I know it's 1 week. I do think there is a significant gap in quarterback play. I think if Atlanta doesn't kind of maybe change up the approach offensively a little bit and not target playmakers in the passing game, it might be a longer afternoon for Atlanta than many believe. I would still, again, I think the total's super, super low for this. It might be exactly like last week where there's just not a lot of points in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And then things kind of open up as adjustments are made. If I were to say now, I think it's going to be Green Bay. Again, still mild confidence. I think that, like Ryan brought up, you guys have both brought up, they've got playmakers in spots. So I'm not imagining a blowout in my head. I would lean something like 24-20 Green Bay right now. Subject to change. I may send JJ something later in the week if we don't have another one of these. But that's where I am right now. I think it'll be competitive. I think the gap in quarterback play matters. I think offensive line and defensive line consistency as a unit matters. And I think I'd lean to Green Bay on both counts.
I do think that the Packers defense is going to put together a respectable showing. I thought that there were enough plays against the Bears where there was an opportunity for a blown coverage or, just guys maybe not quite where they needed to be. I really liked the swarming that we saw from the Packers defense, which typically would have me thinking that we're not going to see any really big, long chunk plays from the Falcons this week, but also Bijan does scare me a little bit. I think that him catching a short pass and taking it to the house like Aaron Jones did, until I just kind of consistently see more from the Packers defense, I'm going to assume that some of that stuff is still in their DNA. So I am taking one really long touchdown run like that, probably by Bijan, for the Falcons. One more touchdown just earned, honestly, and a field goal. So 17 points for the Falcons. And for the Packers, I'm taking 23 points. I think that Anders is going to look a little bit, sort of like what we saw in the preseason where you're going to have a missed PAT, but also a really long field goal. And you're just like, well, whatever. I guess I'll take the 3 points that you got from 56 yards. If it means giving up the extra point, but 23-17 is my pick. So that is Green Bay to cover, but I'm taking the under on 40.5.
Well, I would, again, this is just without really any investigation, but I would go much higher than what you guys are looking at. I was thinking low for Chicago, Green Bay, but I mean, it feels like just as far as DNA is concerned, the Falcons love to give up a ton of points, and they also love to score a bunch and look like they're going to win and then fail in the end. Like that's historically what they do. I know their defense looked good week 1 when everybody's defense looked good, but they were the 25th ranked defense last year. Everybody that looked good week 1 is playing better than they had historically. Like Onyemata looks good and he's a good football player, but he's not that good. Grady Jarrett's a good football player, but he's not that good. Jesse Bates, so I think they're going to take a step back to reality a little bit. The lack of exterior pass rush, the fact that we do have pass rush, Ritter being kind of a problem as far as not being good. I don't know. I would lean more. I'd hate to put the Packers in the 30s again because I thought that was unrealistic last week, but something, 24-28 Packers, something in that range.
So Packers 28?
Yeah.
Packers to lose.
Packers 28, 24-28 Packers.
Okay. So if you are picking the Falcons to kind of return to just their DNA, I would expect all 24 of those points, or at least 21 of them, to be scored in the first half. Packers to be down multiple touchdowns at halftime, and still down multiple touchdowns a couple minutes into the fourth quarter.
Which would make sense for the Packers as well, as far as the way they seem to play football, where they don't show up until the second half and then just decide, you know what, we're actually pretty good at this stuff.
So we're probably looking at like 7-21 at halftime.
Yep.
And then
Yikes.
like 4, call it 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, the score is going to be like what, Dakota Miller?
I didn't even hear the freaking thing until you said that, and then I'm like, I can hear him.
I've been hearing the cricket going.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Just a few minutes. It hasn't been super long. But
the Packers are going to put up 2 touchdowns in the final 10 minutes. And if you know the ESPN like win probability chart, it shows who's going to win.
Oh, no.
It always, for the Falcons, it's like, it gets like 99% with like a minute left to go, and then nosedives every single time.
And then 0.
Yeah.
If the Falcons ever get to 99% win probability, we have them right where we want them.
Yeah. That's when you place your bet against the Falcons.
It's 24-21 with 47 seconds left. Oh, the Falcons, they've got this in the bag. Oh, wait, they can't rush the passer.
Yeah.
That's when some like ball boy walks up to Arthur Smith and he's like, Falcons are lactose intolerant, right?
Boom, Watson for 40. They're at midfield already. It's like, oh man, not again. Yeah. It's like, oh, we're going to overtime. Psych.
On an end around.
On the end zone. That's
very all right, possible. Gents. Any final thoughts besides the Bears still suck?
Not for me. Jiminy has a lot to say, but I think I've pretty much said it all.
I got one. Jaden Reed, I believe, was 4th in yards per route run for rookies in week 1. So some encouraging signs there.
Luke Musgrave, I think, was number 1 among all tight ends in yards per route run.
Yeah, Musgrave had a quite impressive debut. That was up there with someone mentioned it. I don't remember who mentioned it. Somebody on Packers Twitter said, it was up there with the whole league in terms of performance. Week 1, I haven't seen all of it yet, but it might be hard to argue that. So,
well, yeah, I think he was just 2nd in total yards, and that was with the one ball getting thrown over his head. So, I mean, imagine if both of those got caught, he would just be dominating right now in all statistic categories.
He really is tight end Christian Watson.
He is, yeah,
he really is. But
he's a little clunky, not quite figuring it out. But by week 10, he's going to have his 3 touchdowns.
Barroom Network tweeted out, PFF says Nate Davis allowed 9 pressures on Sunday, and one of my Bears fan friends
I love that.
tweeted it and said PFF isn't accurate and their measurements are flawed.
Yeah, of course. Bears fans hate PFF because PFF says their team is bad, which is hilarious because even they know their team is bad.
They just watch their team get stomped and they're like,
right, and like, no. You are you honestly going to sit there and say Justin Fields wasn't under pressure a lot or what?
I know. No, he didn't give up 9 pressures because
Or they just expect every single one of them came from Cody Whitehair because they hate him already.
Hey, I will say two rookies on both sides of the ball graded in the top 5 for the Bears. So, maybe the rookies are good, but that's kind of an indictment on the rest of that's the kind of indictment on the rest of the roster a little bit when the rookies are actually doing something. And of course, Mercedes Lewis leading all offensive players for the Bears in terms of grade on offense. That might be a tough one to
Side note
follow
that
there.
that
Actually,
stupid. Go ahead.
No, I was actually three rookies on offense for the Bears in the top 5 in terms of grades. So
there you go.
Yeah, I really thought that Justin Fields and DJ Moore were going to be tearing up.
No,
this.
You're not understanding how it's supposed to go. It's the rookies. It's the new guys coming in. DJ Moore. You don't pay attention, man. You're so stupid.
Based on how good Tyler Scott, Roshan Johnson, Darnell Wright played, according to PFF, I mean, where's the breakout?
Yeah.
Actually, I think Ill Will is the guy who we got to milk this pod a couple minutes longer so we can get one more donation so we can get my pay counter up a little bit higher. It's only at 10:33.
Who wants to get to $11?
Yeah.
I was wondering why we were going so late.
Well, it's been like 40 minutes since our last donation. So
all right, I didn't get to use my cha-ching thing, so that's fair enough.
Ill Will, I think, was the guy who tweeted something like, These Packer fans are so stupid because they think that like their year 2 players are going to get a leap. Like that's not where growth comes from on a football team. It's signing free agents. That's what he said.
What? This is the dumbest take I've ever heard in my life.
Well, when you're not a draft and develop football team, I mean,
I suppose that's
probably
true.
Not surprising, I guess, to have that take. You don't know what that's like. Draft
it's
picks
like
developing. What's that?
It's like a Bears fan explaining how quarterback play works.
Yeah. You would definitely know.
Gotta see if I can find this tweet now because it was.
Oh my goodness,
it was amazing.
There's only 800 articles out every year about who's taking the leap in year 2. Like it's definitely a thing. Oh man,
I'm trying to think what because I'm searching his Twitter. I'm trying to remember what. Trying to think what is a specific word I could look for. I'm frustrated. I want to read it now because it was so good. And somebody immediately commented like, well, he's a Bears fan, so he probably forgot that young players can develop, or that players developing is growth. I
like this comment, this latest one by Professor Cakes. That's good. Maybe that's why people I hate to go back this far. I'd be like, well, McCarthy doesn't use Aaron Jones. Well, maybe McCarthy just wanted to extend, how long Aaron Jones would be effective, perhaps.
Right. We can thank Mike McCarthy for that 50-yard run that we got from him.
Yeah, But I like this. I think it, not to jump ahead, but I'm going to anyway. It's Packernet Derailed. That speaks to maybe why running back in next year's draft might be something to look at,
Oh, boy.
They're going to keep Aaron.
I can see by the look on your face, you already got names already. You're just waiting to spill the names.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's a great. It's not going to be as good as last year's per se, but it's got plenty of names, plenty.
You know what drove me nuts in that stupid Lions game was at the end of the game, the announcers are like taking a lap on how good the Lions rookie class is because they played a lot and because their running back that they drafted it with like the 11th overall pick or something, had a couple good plays. And they're like, oh, a lot of people were doubting this draft class. Where are they now? Ho, ho, ho.
No, it's really just all, you didn't draft an outside corner and there were about, 9 Chiefs open on every play. Just lucky they dropped them all, That's the issue there.
Like nobody said that Jahmyr Gibbs was like a bad undraftable football player. Nope. It was, why the heck did you draft him that early in the first round? Yep. And don't you need a corner?
Yep. Yeah, it was the same thing. It's like Jack Campbell. Yeah, he's probably linebacker 1 for most people, but at 18?
To be fair, when opposing wide receivers are just going to drop every single pass that would otherwise be a first down,
you're right.
You don't need corners.
How did I not foresee this? I should have put that in the in their kind of draft grade. This is definitely a thing. I will say, Sam Laporta actually did better as a run blocker than I thought he was going to. I didn't think they were going to stick him in there a lot in the trenches and block a bunch in week 1, and not too shabby.
I hope Musgrave is really good, because I'm going to be really depressed about Sam Laporta for a long time if he's not.
Now, did they take Laporta before we took Musgrave, or was Musgrave the first?
I think it was shortly before.
34th. 34th.
I found the tweet
when Laporta went.
I'm going to share my screen so you can see I'm not making this up. And also he put a picture on here as well, and it just like the arrogance. Come on, share. Click and share. There we go. Hoping second-year players take a massive jump is not improving your team. I know this because I'm a Bears fan. Adding actual talent is improving your team, not hope. It's sassiest picture ever of like.
It's funny because he's speaking from experience. He's like, players don't get better, stupid.
That's like, oh man, that's the self-awareness for a self-own. I'm not sure. Oh man, I'm not sure what we're doing here. Players don't get better.
A Packers fan at Way More Gucci replied to him and said, "There's literally a phrase about rookies making a year 2 jump. LOL. Hopefully the Bears will finally become familiar with this phrase under the direction of Ryan Poles. I'm skeptical."
Oh my gosh.
Walter said, "Does that apply to third-year quarterbacks too?"
Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Draft is useless. Good point. Well, depends on who's doing the drafting.
Oh,
jeez.
That is so funny.
That's so good.
Wait, isn't that exactly what Bears fans are expecting from Fields? Hope of a year 3 jump.
You'd be like, well, but it's year 3. And then it's like, well, yeah, how about, see all these like good quarterbacks? They broke out in year 2. Did you know?
He didn't.
Some of the comments from actual Bears fans are just painful.
I'm glad that somebody.
You're so right. King Poles has brought in a legitimate football GM feeling to my team.
Oh God. Oh man.
Somewhere in here is a comment that says, like, to be fair, he's a Bears fan, so he doesn't know that.
That should be the comment. I mean,
I know this.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be counting on like guys like Kyler Gordon to take a second-year leap. Just saying, like that.
Oh my goodness.
To be fair, I think if your rookies sucked in their first year, yeah, you probably shouldn't expect a leap in year 2. But if they were, if they showed any promise, then you hope that they're gonna take a step.
That's where the cell phone comes in. That's where the cell phone is. Our rookies are bad. Sign free agents.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you. Sorry to tell you, JJ. I don't think you're getting to $11 today. I think the people have spoken.
Someone please.
That's it for today. We'll be right back here next week. Follow us on Twitter at JJ Leahy, at Pack_Daddy, and at Jake NFL Draft to stay up to date on all things Packers or ask us questions. You can also reach out to me there and find my Venmo and Cash App and PayPal. Make sure you're subscribed to Packernet on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. Until next time, go Pack, go.